we have half of our next team here. Mr. Justine Pierre is already with us, and we're awaiting the arrival of Mr. Lincoln Morgan. These folks are going to be talking about the effect of skills education on the Grenadian economy. And as you know, we're going to have our little international tete-a-tete starting at the top of the next hour. I expect to hear from folks out there in Florida, New York, Toronto, Montreal. So we hope to get to that in just a wee bit. Let us take a little break as we try to make unable to reach him, eh? So I'll tell you what, Justine, you saddle up and we'll have a little chat. And if Mr. Morgan joins us, it would be nice to hear from him. Justine Pierre is let me pull this up here. Justine Pierre is the Director of Business Development with a company called Dunn, Pierre, Barnett and Associates. And he's in Grenada. I think you're based in Jamaica, are you?
Yes, the head office is in Jamaica, yes.
He's based in Jamaica. He's been with us before. Had him on here with then Senator Frank Bernardine some time ago.
Yes.
And what's the purpose of the visit this time?
Well, basically our company, the director, Dr. Dunn Smith and Cleophas Barnett will be in Grenada on Wednesday to have a meeting with obviously Mr. Morgan, the permanent secretary of the Ministry of Education, and the chief education officer with regard to skills development. There's in the Caribbean there's something called the CVQ. So we will be basically having discussion in that regard. Yes.
Okay, I want you to spend a moment here talking to us about, first of all, the National Training Agency. What is the National Training Agency here?
Well, I think that, as I said, Mr. Morgan would have been much better. But the National Training Agency is basically an agency it's an agency designed by the government of the various countries in the OECS, specially designed to help youth with skills training, especially designed so that these youths and persons who are trained in the skills, TVET, can use that, can get certification and eventually move on to other Caribbean countries, etc.
And I think the last time you were here, we were talking about the importance of doing that because, as I mentioned earlier on this morning, a lot of people have been graduating from schools and just really aren't prepared for the workforce, are they?
Well, yes. I mean, this is research have shown that many persons who graduate from school that really are not prepared for the workplace. And we see that more and more because what they are being taught in school is not really what is required in the workplace. So most of them who have, let's say, 10 and 8 and what are these O levels still do not know a lot about what is required on the job. So a lot of retraining need to take place, and that's why the National Training Agency, of the various countries of CARICOM is in a TVET national strategy. It is they require that persons be trained for the workplace.
I'm really sorry that Lincoln's not here because a lot of the questions I have this morning would have been directed at him, such as, how does the NTA contribute to the training of persons in Grenada, and what is the purpose of the agency? How many persons have been trained to date? What part does the NTA play in the training and certification of Imani students?
Yes.
Are you able to answer any of these questions?
Well, I would not know a lot about the Imani because I said, but however, the National Training Agency plays a critical role in the development and training of persons in their country. It should be the primary source of training for persons who are required to work. And we see that in the OECS, in the curriculum, more and more countries are establishing national training agency, because, George, that there is a need to train and certify their workforce. Because what we're seeing is that the persons who are trained in the skills area, what we call in our Caribbean vernacular in TVET, we find that they are contributing more to national development than persons who were trained what we call scholastically or academically. Okay, research have shown that the persons who are trained academically, or what is called the most 87% of these persons leave the region. So when you train them, they end up leaving the region. So the benefit in terms of national development, the return on investment is very, very, very low. If you imagine, George, that you train someone as from kindergarten to university. You know, the Ministry of Education will provide teachers and books and education for all these persons. But what happens, George, is that these persons leave the region and never return. Okay, and we say, well, it is okay. They will go away, send remittance. It sounds fair. But what in terms of the IMO, national, it is not happening, because the persons who contribute the most to the most to remittance are still the persons who are trained in vocational education. They are bus drivers, they are nurses, they are the carpenters, the painters, etc. These are the persons who, when you look at in their schedule in the IMO, which is called remittance per gross income, we find that these are the persons who contribute the most, because 64.3% of persons who are trained in the vocational education remain in your country, whereas 85.5% of persons who train what you call academically leave the country, leave the region, because, George, the Caribbean has the highest rate of migration in the world. There is no other country, there's no other region in the world that has the highest migration rate, that have higher migration rate.
We're talking about per capita here.
Yes. Okay. You know, so we talk about the country with the highest migration rate in the world is Guyana, which is 89%. After Guyana, you have Grenada, 85. Then you have Jamaica. And it is very, very, very sad, and that is why we need to train our persons, train our citizens, because those who are trained in the skills, 64.4% of them remain in the country. And that's why it is important for that. That's why CARICOM, in fact, this project that we are working on is a CEDAR project. It's funded by the Association of Canadian Community College. And we are looking at the 9 countries in the OECS to help promote their CVQ, help promote training, certifications. And that's what we'll be doing.
Is there a chance of really reversing this trend of, trained people leaving?
Yes.
You're optimistic about
yes,
that?
Yes, see, because it has been done in other regions. Okay, what we look in, in order for persons to change, we need to look at the perceptions of persons with regard to vocational education. And in the region, again, we have a very low perception of persons who are vocationally or oriented. We have a very low perception of the plumbers, the carpenters, the painters, the electrician, all the installations. I mean, all these persons are highly skilled, but somehow we do not view them as important. We only see people who are important, like the doctors, the lawyers, the teachers and stuff. But these vocational persons are very important. So what we have to look at is we have to look at the trying to change the perception of how the society view these people, because traditionally we see someone who let's say a construction worker or a plumber as someone who is uneducated. We have this perception. Most of these persons are highly educated, but somehow we see them as being uneducated, and that's how because our perception of TVET stemmed from our colonial past. And in vocational and colonial history, the persons who were the trade persons traditionally were persons who are educated, who are uneducated. But that has passed, so we have to change our perception of these persons.
All right, let me take a little break here, Justin, and we'll come back and continue this discussion right after this.
It's back to school